Britt Holloway. Welcome to the More Live podcast. You guys, this is very exciting because we met at Leanne Lopez Mosley's event, Soft Girl Millions. And I knew of you because we share a dear friend, Berkeley. Everybody knows Berkeley. She was on the show just a few episodes ago. And of course, we were talking about law and dating.
I'm not surprised. But thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah. Okay. So you and I clicked the second that we met, and I got to find out before the rest of the world knew that you were getting ready to sell your law firm. So I heard of you through Berkeley sharing her story of going from, I think she was like hovering around 30 to 50K and then crossing over the 100K months because you started coaching her for her legal practice. And then I learned that you were getting ready to sell your company. So to build a company that has massive financial success is one thing. To build a company that is an asset that you can sell someday is a whole different level of business and requires the most gangster level of really creating leadership within your company, the emotional aspect of being able to trust, to let go, to move through your own personal inner shit as you're leading a company, to show up every single day leading that company, going through many different seasons. I actually don't know how many years. I think it was maybe like 4 or 5, not even that long.
Like just over 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Such a short period of time to actually build a sellable company.
Right.
So the ladies on the internet are suffering because they are just doing everything themselves and they're exhausted, and they don't want that to be true. They want a company that they feel like they can trust people. It could maybe possibly be sold someday. I don't know that I'll want to ever do that, but I am building my company as such.
Right.
So, because I like freedom, and that's really what all of this is for. So
yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah,
for all
that's
of
the
this.
goal.
Yeah.
So, okay, take us back before you started your own law firm, because that wasn't day one for you.
No. So I was barred in 2017. Graduated law school early in 2.5 years instead of 3 because I couldn't do another semester. I was like, I'm over it. Give me everything I need. And I'm glad I did that because I did kind of get a jump start.
That's savage.
It was like one of those things where I was just like, I want this and nobody can tell me no. And I just went for it,
I love it.
So took the bar, got barred in May of 2017, and I got a job at a mid-sized firm. And I thought that was going to be like the pinnacle. I was like, not the Bridgerton pinnacle, but like the but I thought that was good. But I thought this was going to be like the not like 9 or 10 out of 10. I was like, I'm ready for this, like big job, like law firm job.
Yeah.
And I was miserable. Hated my life.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Like,
what was terrible?
I just didn't fully consider what the environment was going to be like. I didn't fully consider what the day-to-day would actually be like. Like getting up early, going to the office, being stuck in a chair, like looking at the computer, drafting, like barely really doing anything that was moving the needle for me, but also nothing that was like super interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had interesting cases, but I was doing a lot of everything. I worked for this guy who was like 70 something years old. He was one of the partners and he had everything. I was doing criminal, real estate, PI, commercial work, everything. I wanted to be in commercial and that's what I got the job for, but he didn't have that much. So I was doing everything.
Okay.
And like, in order to hit the billables, I ended up doing some insurance defense work, which was another big thing.
I'm
they
very
had this
familiar
firm.
with that.
Yes, there you go. And I learned it because it was in front of me. I was like looking at YouTube back then. I was like, I need to learn how to do this kind of work because I'd never even seen an insurance policy.
Right.
But once I learned it, I realized like, this is not where I want to be. Like, I'm not doing the work I want to be doing. Like, I'm not helping the people. And I saw like the partners were just miserable as well.
Yeah.
Like the partner I was working under, like she was a really talented attorney for insurance defense, really talented attorney, had accomplished so much, but she had health problems, like family problems.
Right.
Like she was just like miserable. And I looked at that and I was like, do I want to be this in 20 years? Like, do I want this?
How old were you when you asked that smart question?
25.
Very
25,
unusual.
26.
Obviously, you're a smart cookie.
I mean, I guess so. I guess now that you're saying
Yeah.
that, yes, like that was a smart thing to ask myself if this is where I really want to be.
Yeah.
But like, I was also, I was miserable in the day to day. So maybe that was like the motivating factor. But seeing that, I was just like, this is not who I want to be like, you know? And of course, like,
Mhm.
I was 25. Like, I was on Instagram seeing people live their best lives, like travel blogging. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to go
Yeah.
travel. I want to do the things. Right. So I just like was never going to be a long term for me. But then I got a job at a plaintiff's firm working on the other side of insurance defense. And I actually liked that better. It was more flexible. The people there were younger. It was more happening. I felt like I was doing like impactful work because I was
Yeah.
doing it for the homeowners.
Right.
And the boss that I worked for, he was like, he was very young, very like enjoyable. Like I liked his like him as a model of like what it would be like to be a business owner and, you know, enjoy your day to day and have like impactful work. I was like, this is great. So that was like my baby lawyer journey was
Yeah.
being miserable, having a little bit better, but still kind of having a job. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to have my own business. I didn't know what it was going to be. Like I didn't think it was going to be a law firm. I just wanted it to be something. And eventually, like my husband, then boyfriend, sat me down and was like, you need to do this on your own. Like you can do this on your own. It was like maybe September of 2020 when he sat me down. I was already like producing content at that point in time because there was nothing else to do during COVID.
Right.
And I was like, I have to do something that's like, for me, that's fun. And I always wanted to do like online marketing. So I
Yeah.
started doing that for cases, started bringing in my own cases, making relationships. And then Jason sat me down and was like, you need to do this on your own.
Wait, what do you mean you were doing that for cases? Like you
Mhm.
were creating legal content? You were bringing in
Yeah,
clients to the firm that you were working for?
correct. So like June or July of 2020.
Did they pay you marketing tips?
I mean,
Commission?
they were open to it, but I mean, when you're an attorney and you work at a firm, if you bring in your own cases, you get a higher percentage, or
Okay.
you get like a piece of the pie.
Got it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you do.
So
That's
there was
pretty
a little-
standard. Yeah, exactly. So I was bringing in my own cases, making a little bit more on those, and I had like new referral relationships I was like nurturing, and I was doing all the stuff to get cases for me, and that kind of led into this is available for you. Like you can start your own thing. You're already bringing in the cases. How many do you really need
Mhm.
to go out on your own? I remember being like kind of apprehensive, kind of nervous, like, do I really want to do this? Whatever. And Jason was like, well, what's the worst that happens? You know, like what's worst case scenario? And I was like, well, I fail and I have to get a job. And he's like, you already have a job.
Right.
And I was like,
You're
I
literally
am
already there.
living my plan B. That's terrible. Oh my gosh. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, that's awful. And we went to, have you ever been to Casa Frida in Fort Lauderdale? Great Mexican spot. We'll have to go. So we're at Casa Frida. We're having a couple spicy margs and we're like, you know, back of the napkin, but really like on my phone. Okay, how many cases would you need to go out on your own? Like, what would it need to look like?
Yeah.
And we're like doing calculations and it was so low. It was like 3 or 4 cases a month. And I was like, I'm already bringing in that much. So I guess I can do this, you know? And then I
I
put in my
feel like
notice.
almost everyone tells the story of like, can't do that.
Yeah.
Until they sit down and they actually look at,
Mhm.
wait, what would it take?
Yeah. And that's what I strive to be for like my coaching clients or really anybody I have a conversation with where they're telling me why they can't or can't yet, even
Right.
can't yet. That's like a bigger one. People say they want to, but it's like not now.
Or I
Why
have
not
to do
now?
it this way.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, I have to do that. I have to have this first. Why? Why do you have to? No one really thinks about the why, right? No one
Right.
asks themselves that question.
Yeah.
So, but Jason was my
We get paid
person.
really great money to ask that question. Why?
Tell me more. Tell me why you can't, and I'll tell you why you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you wrote your business plan on the metaphorical napkin note on your phone. Realizing I'm literally already doing for somebody else what I could do for myself.
Right.
And you start your company. Party of one.
The party of one.
Did you immediately start specializing in, you mentioned that you wanted to do
I had
commercial.
So I wanted to do commercial law because I wanted to do business law, kind of almost like what Berkeley does. I wanted to do contracts and deals more like on the M&A side, but I wanted to do like the big deals and everything that had to do with business because I liked business. Like I wanted to have a business, like I said. But that just wasn't the path that I had followed in that law firm I got a job at. So I had so much experience and knowledge in insurance from doing that and on the plaintiff side And it kind of just gradually transitioned into that because I was able to create content on it. I had connections with people I knew in that industry. So I went in that direction. And that's all we ever did was property insurance claims.
Honestly, smart.
Yeah.
Especially when you're thinking, I'm going to grow my law firm using social media,
Right.
which is really unheard of.
Right. You want your ideal clients, you want your referral sources to think of you when they think of your practice area.
It's so funny to me thinking of like normal law firm content and then your content. And I'm like, you were always going to crush that.
It's all up there. Like people can scroll back 1,000 posts or so, and there's me in my living room talking about roof leaks. It's still there. And it's cringe. Like it is so cringe. I love it because I'm like, I tell people, they're like, I don't know if I want to start posting that. I feel awkward. I'm like, please go look at my posts from 2020 and you won't feel awkward anymore.
Those are the most gold content. Like people are going to go find these now because I'm going to say it. But back when I was doing Beachbody network marketing, I was like making shakes and snacks in my tiny little kitchen that had like rotting cabinets. And you can't see this part, but like taped onto one of the cabinets was like my dream kitchen. And like the really, truly every house that I've lived in since I've pretty much lived in Florida. But I would just like tape out something that I pulled from like an Architectural Digest magazine or something like that. And I would just go in and I would stare at it while I was like prepping food and like pretending that I was in that kitchen.
I love that.
But they are just the cringiest videos. My voice sounds like a baby. So I'm in my 20s and my kids are tiny in there. And I'm like, I will never take those down because I would not rob people of the opportunity to see the humblest of beginnings.
Right, right. It's showing like, hey, yes, I'm here now, but look where I started. Like we all start at the same place.
We're the most fringe.
I love cringe. Cringe is great.
Yeah. Oh my God, the things I used to post, like the I'll sleep when I'm dead posts, like those were literally.
No way.
I was turned on by it back then.
Wow.
Something about like, I don't know, I'm a Virgo. I was always trained to work hard. And there was like this allure to like the identity of the person who was willing to do that was very appealing to me. Actually living my life that way, it's not.
Yeah, that's a different story.
It's very harmful. Some people who make drugs look cool. That's really
it looks from the outside.
It
looks like you got it together, but on the inside, it's not. It's a different story.
Yeah, like you're just feeling like you're swallowing razor blades on the regular.
Not to be dramatic, but
I do love a good razor blade metaphor. He's doing the other day. I was like, imagine shaving your eyeballs. This is the equivalent.
Oh my God. Do we even want to know what that was in comparison to?
Well, it was in comparison to like guys saying that they don't want to talk about their feelings. And I was, my man and I are going to do a couples event. And I was saying, it's not that guys don't want to talk about their feelings. They just don't want to stay there and stew in it, which neither do women.
Right.
But like, that's why they don't want to go to therapy because they're just sitting there like, and how do you feel about that? And they're just like, I'd rather shave my eyeball. That was
so one. Yes. No, I would say that's accurate. It was for most people.
Adequate, right? It worked. Anyways. Okay. So you're running your own company, party of one. Tell us what that journey did you know right away? Like, I want to sell this someday or?
No, but I did know that I wanted to travel. Like, 10, 15 days of PTO a year was never going to cut it. That was another like real drag on having, those two jobs is I wanted to go travel. Like I wanted to just like peace out for a month and go. Right. And I wanted to see the world and do all the things. That was ever since I was 17 and I did a study abroad. Like I did an exchange where I lived with a family in Italy when I was 17. And like that was eye opening. I was like, I want to do this all the time. That was like when I got bit by the travel bug. So going into having a job where they're like, yeah, you can take 10 days off. I was like, 10 days? I can't do that.
Yeah.
So when I started the firm, I knew it couldn't be just me. Couldn't be just me and then go away for a month. That wasn't going to work. So actually 3 days in, I hired my first VA.
Wow.
2 months in, I think it was second VA. 3 months in, my first paralegal, who actually became our firm's director. She was great. Amazing. And then I had a contracted attorney at that point in time. And then I hired my first full-time attorney 8 months in and the second one 10 months in. So I was like immediately building the team so that I could remove myself from the center. Like you talk about like how it was alluring to you to be like the hard worker. It was alluring to me to just run the show. Like I've always been very
I
just like,
love
how do I make
that.
this easier? How do I make this simpler for me? How can I structure this so I can get what I want and not just what everyone else thinks you should want or what everyone else does?
You were kind of just maybe born that way, huh? Or like how?
My human design is a projector. So
Oh,
very much like high level bird's eye view, like how can this be better?
you and Berkeley are both cute little projectors. You're either the hot girl Barbie projector of the world. Hot girl Barbie lawyer.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Like we have the same kind of philosophies. Like how do we remove ourselves
Yeah.
from this more and more and more?
Yeah.
And at like the very core, the reason behind that is like if you're running the company, you're making the highest level decisions. Your energy is being channeled into those high level decisions of like what direction's the company going in? How are we going to be structured? What's our marketing strategy for the year? You know, what are our high level goals? But if you're making 1,000 decisions a day about like talking to this client and getting on that hearing and drafting that brief and, you know, looking at the accounting, if you're doing all those little minutia things, your energy is being depleted by those other decisions.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's better for your company that you are removed from the center in the day-to-day. That's how you build out a structure that supports not just you, but the entire business, the whole team, and helps you scale that way rather than you being the one delegating, calling all of the shots, being involved in everything day to day.
Now you're running a coaching business. Do you
Mhm.
find that easy for you to build your company that way as a coach?
It's different because I am providing
You're
the
the
product, right? I don't think I am the product. The product is separate from me. The product is like the frameworks that I teach and like my methodologies and strategies that I actually teach. That's the product, right? It goes
Right.
through me. I'm teaching my clients how to think in that way. But I can still remove myself from everything else. Like I love to come up with like the outlines for trainings. I love to get on the phone and on calls with my clients. I love to do that piece, but I don't want to do anything else. So like I hired an OBM, I've got a social media person, I've got a podcast person. So I've got people to just take my raw output and give it to the world so that I can remove myself again from the day-to-day, from the center, and just do what I want to do.
Most people really struggle with the social media piece. So what does your social media person do?
She takes my raw and just makes it beautiful. So like I come up with like the concepts, I come up with what I want to say, what I want to teach, what I want to share. Sometimes I'll write it out. If it's me talking, I will just get on and record and then I'll give it to her. And we've worked together for 4 years. So she's at the point where she can take my raw output and make it look good.
Right.
She can take something I've scribbled down and written and she puts it on a nice B-roll of me that we have a shared, iPhone folder.
Yeah.
So it's me coming up with the ideas and then she finalizes it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Works for me.
Okay. So one of the things that I'm gathering is like, number one, you chose immediately to stay the strategist.
Yes.
For the law company. And then speed. You waste no time.
Speed.
You hired your first person in days.
But I think speed comes when you decide to build your company around ease and around like removing yourself from the center. Because we all have a limited capacity in one way, shape, or form. Like we can only do so much in a day, only do so much in a week, mentally, physically. So as you start building out your systems and your structure, as you start hiring support to fill those roles, to handle that structure, to do whatever needs to be done for clients, then you end up being able to handle more clients, to serve more people. So I think that's just like a natural result of how you design your business.
I feel like I hear people say, like, well, I can't afford to do that in the beginning. And there's a cost to both paths. It seemed like you really had a strong sense of that. Whereas most people need somebody to illustrate that for them in order for them to be like, oh, I'm already paying. And I just don't realize it. Like, what made you think like, okay, I'm just a couple days into starting my law firm. I can afford to pay somebody's salary and I'm going to actually be okay. Was that scary for you or?
It was scary, but I think the flip side was I almost saw the missed opportunity. Again, projector. So I was seeing like what could be maybe.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, if I'm spending time talking to all these intake leads, if I'm talking to opposing counsels, if I'm going to hearings, if I'm writing drafts of motions, if I'm doing all that, that's time that I'm not spending networking. I'm not spending marketing. I'm not focused on bringing business into the firm so we can grow. So probably just seeing that missed opportunity naturally made me, okay, like who can I hire to do these things? Who can I hire to support me and help me as I continue to grow so that I can focus all of my time on marketing, networking, and growing the business? And that's like what I teach. I have a calculator that I use with some people, like coaching clients, people I talk to, and they're like, oh, like, but like, I don't want to spend the 80 grand or the 90 grand to hire somebody. And so I walk them through what that actually looks like. And it's usually like just a few more clients to pay for that person.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, if you paid for this person and you got 20 hours back of your time every week because they were now handling client work, could you go get another handful of clients to pay for them? Yes. And you can probably get way more than that. And that's how you start buying back your time to then scale the business. I love doing that with people because it's like, yes, you are saving that 90 grand you're not paying, but are you losing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars otherwise?
And every role, if the role is filled with the right person, brings an ROI into the company through either savings or through earnings.
Right.
And so I love the question of, well, if it could be possible, what would that look like?
Right.
You know, every time one of my team member comes to me and they're like, can't be done. And I'm like, but if it could, tell me how that would work.
Right. If everything else were equal and you know it was going to be fine, like what would that actually look like in day to day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does come down to having the right people in the right positions, making sure that like, if this person, now tell me, one of the areas that I've grown through is like keeping people in a position because I like them for way too long. And I was afraid to be a big girl and to let people go when the ROI just wasn't there anymore. Or maybe it wasn't really ever truly there.
Right. I also had the opposite problem where I had people that were really high producers, but that were causing other issues within the company.
And
I kept them around too long.
Yep.
Therapy definitely helped with all those things. Because I know, right? I was like an extreme people pleaser for quite a while, and it like subsided over time, but it was still there where I would get anxious, like you're saying, like, oh my gosh, I have to fire this person. They're so great. Like, how am I going to do this to them? Right. And I would get like anxious that they were going to be upset, which like now we know, like not everybody is emotions are our responsibility. We can only control ourselves. But what I realized through therapy is I was making it all about me because I was uncomfortable with their feelings. And that was like a moment for me where I was like, wow, like how selfish.
Yeah.
Making this all about me yet again, not allowing them to have their human experience to grow and do what they need to do in their lives. So therapy definitely helped with that. Therapy helped me become more clear about like what was limiting me that I couldn't see, like being a people pleaser. It helped me have compassion when doing the hard things and also be a little more ruthless in getting rid of people that were not aligned.
Yeah. I would have never actually identified as a people pleaser until I was older, where I look back and I'm like, oh, wow.
Meaning once you were older, you realized you were? Or, okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I always kind of thought like I have my own mind. I like make my own way. I make my own decisions. And I've always really felt like my true identity is being a truth teller, which is true. And my false identity, my trauma, my truth is that I am a truth teller. My trauma is that there's been some people pleasing patterns that have had to go over the years, and business has been such an accelerant in helping me see that. And it's always so hard when the person is quite talented.
It is.
And like I had to let go of someone for similar reasons, and like I still haven't replaced that level of talent.
Yeah.
And I know I will at some point. The perfect person, perfect time will happen. But yeah, that's a real thing too. On the flip side, there's the aspect of having to let them go and to deal with the emotional experience of that. and whatever comes from their side
Mm.
and internalizing that and whatever meaning occurs from there. And then there's the aspect of, but how do I replace this role? Like, what have you done in the past? Like, has that been just an easy thing for you, or
I don't know what easy truly means in that fashion, because
yeah,
it's easier to not have an unaligned person in a role in
yeah,
your company. It's easier when you have aligned people. It's my perspective was always, when I got rid of somebody or somebody left, we were opening up space for a more aligned person.
yeah,
So I was always of the, okay, we're going to find someone that is more aligned, that is better than what we had before. That's why they left. So like the universe could bring in somebody who was going to just help us like explode or expand or get to the next level. I was always like what I was, and that's kind of what I experienced. I wasn't willing to like settle for just anybody that was good enough. I really tried to look for people that were aligned.
yeah. I will say either way, whether you find somebody who's like has the same level of like talent or output,
Mhm.
the day to day of keeping somebody that you know is not the right fit for either team culture purposes or whatever that may be comes at such a deep cost.
Yeah.
To you personally and to other people. And like that was a piece that like really gave me courage was this isn't just impacting me.
Right.
This is impacting my whole team
Mhm.
when there's just the wrong ingredients put together.
Right.
But man, I love being an entrepreneur. I would never do anything other than this. Can't
Yeah.
imagine working for someone else. I would
Neither.
literally just be like, somebody ship me out to sea in a life raft where I can never come back. Why can't life is not
You with the
meant
analogies
to be.
today.
I always speak in visuals. But I think the growth that you have to go through to be able to tell someone they're not the right fit. What does that mean about me? What you think about it? That was one of the best. It was the best thing that I've ever gone through in my entire life, and to learn how to allow people their own human experience.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much every aspect of being an entrepreneur will shine light on your shadows. It will show you where you have work to
100%.
do. And you think it's over at one point. And you're like, cool, like I have come so far. And then it's the next thing.
Huh.
So like the next challenge. I love the quote, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor.
Yeah.
Like my husband and I have a big painting in our house of a ship going through stormy seas. It's like an antique like painting. And I look at it all the time and it reminds me like, oh my gosh, we've gone through such stormy seas in business, in life, that we're so skilled now. And I'm thankful for it. Like I'm thankful. I'm so grateful for all the challenges, because now I feel like I can weather so many storms.
100%. What were some of the more difficult storms that you guys experienced as a firm together?
Oh, the unaligned employees that we were talking about earlier. We had some people that caused more drama than I think I've ever seen. And I was in a sorority. So like that was really saying something. And it was a man. And thankfully he like left. So it was like one of those things where it kind of maybe got pushed out, but left. And we got such a better person in that position. It was like night and day. Kept that person on because they were a great producer, but learning those lessons 1,000%. Learning not to put all your eggs in one basket. So having like too heavy on like a handful or maybe a couple of referral sources or a couple of marketing strategies when you're like at a decent size, and then that person leaves, or that person, their own business is experiencing internal problems, and then you have to like recalibrate what you're doing. So I've learned a lot of those lessons of being equally spread, having only aligned people, like going with my gut intuition on those things as well.
Oh my God. So what does that look like? How do you, this is probably maybe even a human design question, since it seems you're pretty fluent in your chart. Like, how do you know? You're not?
No.
Okay,
I'm
you're
learning. Yes, I'm learning. I'm learning what it is, because it's helpful to know that stuff, to like
100.
identify how you're operating and what you're thinking.
Yeah. When I told Berkeley, I'm like, you actually should take naps. She's like, that sounds so lovely. That's
That's great. I love that. Giving someone permission. It's like, hey, you're actually designed like this. You should be doing it this way. Don't try to like go against the grain and what everyone else is doing.
I think everyone should just acknowledge like that thing that you deeply want. You were actually designed that way. Do it that way.
I know.
You'll get there faster if you
Didn't
do.
you have a podcast on that where it was following the current?
Yeah.
Following the electrical current. Like, why go against the grain?
Yeah.
Flow with how your body, how your mind, how your emotions are going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Honestly. I continuously ask myself, like, what do I want? What do I want to do here? What do I want this to look like? What will be good for me? I mean, even back in, I want to say 22 or 3, I was like presented with an opportunity to really grow, to like bring on additional attorneys, additional staff, and have like a firm that was kind of like twice the size of what I had. And I decided not to do that because I had reached the point where I was like, this is exactly the lifestyle I want to be leading. Like, I have the time flexibility. I have the challenges that I want to work on. I'm going to keep it like this. We could still grow in a manner of better cases, more efficiency, etc. And we ended up bringing a few people on here and there, but I didn't like double it. I didn't go to like a 10 attorney firm. We stayed at 3, 4. So constantly asking myself, what do I want? What do I want this to look like?
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Well, can you tell us some of the details about the actual sale of the company?
Sure.
Tell us.
So, I mean, my husband and I have decided that we won't go into monetary details for protection of us and, family treating you differently and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that I got to a point where it was kind of like, okay, what do I want to do here? Do I want to bring on a CEO to run this? Do I want to sell this? And I was very intrigued by the idea of selling, because selling is like lump sum upfront. You're adding that to your net worth. That sounded like alluring. It was at a point where I could sell it. Like, everything that I implemented to allow me to travel and remove myself in the center was exactly what gave me the ability to sell.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity, I had the option. And this is actually what my dad does. He helps people like buy and sell law firms. So I approached my dad and I was like, hey, and my parents, yes, but no, I was very nervous. Like, this is one of those things, right, where I was like, okay, like, do I need therapy on this? Because I was nervous to tell my parents that I wanted to sell, because I told them when I was launching the firm, I was like, I'm going to quit my job and start the firm. And they were like, no, don't do that. They were so scared.
Yeah.
Because back when they started their firm, what my dad did in the 90s, very different landscape, very different, much harder to grow, to get your name out there, to meet people, etc. So they were scared for me, which I totally understand. And I love them for that. But when I was like going to tell them I wanted to sell, I was like, oh no, going to be the same thing again. They're going to say, why would you do that? All the things. But when I approached my dad, he was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, let's talk about valuation. Let's talk about what this looks like. And I was like, this is cool. Like, this is as soon as I started exploring it, it felt like more of the, yes, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Also, changes in the law in property was making the practice area a little different, a little more difficult. Could have pivoted, could have added different practice areas if I wanted to, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. Like, I really sat down and said, like, what do I want? What do I enjoy doing? Plus, thinking about selling gave me the opportunity to like lean more into coaching, because coaching was always secondary. It was firm first and foremost. Coaching was secondary, but I love coaching. Yeah. I love teaching. Like, I was that little girl in school that would come home and like line up all my dolls and stuffed animals and start teaching them what I learned at school. Like, I would be like, okay, I had like a little like chalkboard. All right, today we're learning subtraction, Like, that's what I love to do. I love to teach, love to share. So, and I did that with my team too. Like, I developed them, but I was like, here's another avenue for me to do what I love. I accomplished what I set out to do with the firm. I built it to a point where I was not the center. I built it to the point where I could travel, where I was making the amount of money I wanted, where I had the challenges and the work that I wanted to do. So it almost felt complete now that I'm saying it to you. Yeah. Almost felt like a full arc of like, I did this. And now what's next, I guess, is what was like in my mind. What happens next?
When I came home from school, I was making dance videos before there were cell phones, like camera phones. And they're like, I don't know how I'm not a TikTok star, actually.
I think we might need to do that.
It might not be too late for me. I was not teaching my dolls. Having said that though, like I was always known as like the quiet kid and labeled as shy, but really actually I was always the observer and studying everyone. Like I was always studying like who was doing what, like facial patterns, like I just pattern recognition has always been my thing since I was a little kid. Just I was severely mislabeled as a child. If somebody had tapped into that, they would have been like, this kid should go with us when we're trying to make sales because she'll tell us all the patterns of each person and who's going to want what, hear what. Like,
intuition was severely undervalued back in the day.
And beyond intuition, just like watching what is,
right?
And just like and understanding people. But like, yeah, people have always been my thing. I love coaching with my whole heart as well. Like I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah.
I tried the physical product company for a little while and I'm like, this isn't for me. I love, of course, getting to see customers open their product and enjoy that. But like watching someone's heart change in front of you. Yeah. It's very difficult
the transformation
to replicate that.
Very different with a product.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So before we started recording, you were telling me this like genius story about how you were starting to list build before you even had your coaching business. So you've kind of just, it does seem like you had this very like ahead of the game, like patterns in your business without necessarily even knowing, like hindsight's 2020. So tell us about that.
Like I do things with intention, but not necessarily with like the whole map laid out, and things always change. Right. Mm-hmm. But what we're talking about is the fact that when I had started the firm, I had a lot of early success and it was very apparent. Like I had 100 clients in the first 100 days of opening our doors. And so like people were messaging me on Instagram, like, how are you doing this? How is this happening? What do you like? Can you teach me how you're doing this? Because I was very active on social at that time for the law firm, not for coaching, but for like leaky roofs and what to do if your pipes
I'm gonna
burst.
Scroll today.
Like the driest content, but I just tried to make it fun and I was posting it. Yeah. And I had so much traction. People were watching that and they're reaching out. How do I do this? So I started sending people messages. I feel like this is probably even before you could send voice notes. Like this is such a long time ago. Wow. But I was sending messages of like, here's how I'm doing this. Here's how this works. And it got to a point where so many people were asking. I was like, let me just like do some type of podcast. Like, let me put this out for everybody. But I had been following like the OG online marketers for like some time because I was always interested in business. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, like I don't have a lead magnet. I don't have a way to make an email list, but I'm just going to make the podcast the lead magnet. Like you have to sign up to listen to the podcast. So I think for like a year, maybe longer, like I had probably 40 episodes. Like you had to sign up to listen to it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I built my, like the first legs of my list. That's how I first started like dipping my toe into like this coaching realm.
Oh, yeah. And we were also sharing our love for simplicity. Yes. Because you record that in a voice note on your phone now.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I get so many questions about what mic do you use?
Yeah.
There is no mic.
Literally.
Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like we were talking about doing, like, me doing a video podcast, but I don't want to have to get ready and do all the things. Mm-hmm. But when I'm recording a podcast, like people have listened to my podcast, I'm sitting in my like workout clothes, possibly my pajamas at my desk. I don't even have a stand for my phone. It sits on a pile of books.
Yeah.
And it's just the voice notes app. I'm looking at an outline and I'm just like riffing. Sometimes I get up and walk around. Like it's very simple and easy when I get inspired. When I have something I want to say, I sit down, record it. I give my raw to my social media manager and she does the rest. Just making it simple.
I think that is the best thing that I have heard all week. I just want to hear more women making millions of dollars doing things with the most simplicity. Like the only reason I come into the studio sometimes to record is because every once in a while it is better for my soul to get the fuck out of the house, but not because I believe that these, that a studio set or like a better mic is gonna like do anything financially for my business or for visibility or for growth or like the truth. You and I love this or like share this belief of like the truth is the truth. So like just find some way to share that.
Yes.
And when you share that from like deep in your soul, like that's what gives it grip.
Right.
And virality. Right. Texture.
Someone needs to hear what you have to say. If you have the desire to share it, someone needs to hear it. Mm-hmm. They need to have that wisdom, that lens, that transformation, that's something. And any way you can get it out. Doesn't matter the format, but any way you can get it to those people.
I love that. Okay. So now you have this awesome coaching business, and every single day I see your posts on teaching women how to remove themselves as the bottleneck of their business. Tell us a little bit more about what you have going on, because I know a lot of women are like, I really want that. I see what's possible. I see that I have thought about this in a very different way from the beginning. It like never even occurred to build myself out of the business. Right now they're like, that could be nice to have. What do they need to know?
That is my sole focus, is how can we get you out of the center so you can be the owner, not the operator. Like, it's fine to be the operator. It's how we all start. It's because we're capable, we're ambitious. We can just get down, do the thing. But being the owner means like you have the systems in place. You have the support, you've got the structure. You're the leader of the firm. And that's what I focus on with all of my coaching clients. I have private coaching clients that I'll work with. And that is our focus, is building them out of the company while the company scales.
Yeah.
We're growing it at the same time. I've got a group program as well called Design to Scale, which is actually open right now. 90 days where we build the roadmap for you of how you're going to build a scalable, self-managed company. That is like the focus for everything I do, because I did it. Like, this is like, that's what I lived. It's not like theory of here's like, these steps and what. No, this is what I did. It's my freedom factors framework. It's leadership, support, structure, and sales. That's what every business needs. Every service-based business needs to be self-managed. That's what I build with people.
And is this primarily for people who own a law firm, or it doesn't matter?
Because my audience is primarily law firm owners and lawyers, that's what I've been working with. But I've also worked with accountants, agency owners. Like, I will work with people that have some type of service-based business. That's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would translate to any service-based business.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And say your framework again.
It's the freedom factors framework. So freedom, removing themselves from the business. Leadership, support, structure, sales.
Yes.
Leadership is how they show up in the business. It's how they think, how they make decisions, what they believe. Support is your team, your dream team, having the right people in the right roles. People that are aligned for your business. Structures your systems. I love systems. I started building systems like day one. And that's before ChatGPT and Claude. Like, this is me sitting down, actually typing out on a Google Doc how I wanted people to do things. And it was like the best thing I ever did. And sales. So like your growth engine. How are you getting clients in the door? Where are they coming from? Making sure you're not the one having to do all of the legwork. Like, you do really good at this, where you're not doing all of the legwork to bring in every lead. You produce the content, you produce the marketing, you produce the advertising or the networking structure so that you have people coming in consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing all those people come in every single day that I've never spoken to. It really does make you feel like, wow, I've done something right.
What's wild is like, and I've been producing content for a decent amount of time, not as long as you, but a decent amount of time. And one of my favorite things is when I'm on a clarity call with somebody who's interested in coaching. I get on the phone, we talk for, 20, 30 minutes about what their business looks like, where they're going, are they a good fit? And when people quote my podcast to me, they're like, will you say something about it? I'm like, I do. I am glad that you know that. How would we implement that? How would you handle that? I love that. I'm like, yes, this is getting to the right people.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll link everything in the show notes so people can come find you, become obsessed with you, and so that they can it's not that I think everyone wants to remove themselves completely from their business. It's just that we don't want to carry so much of the business as our responsibility. And really, truly, like, you want to teach people how to be true entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Not somebody who's working in the business, but on the business.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. We need more of you. Thank God. Okay, where do people find you on Instagram?
Lawyer.Britt with 2 T's. Yeah. I would love to chat. Send me a DM. You got questions? You want to know anything? I would love to talk.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Do you have any mini chat triggers where they can get your private podcast feed or?
Correct. Yeah. You can DM me Smooth to get my latest masterclass, Smooth Scaling, which is the framework behind $100,000 months. Basically what I built with Berkeley, so she could go from $35,000 to $100,000
perfect
a month. Yeah.
That's what everyone wants.
What everyone needs to hear. Yes. And if you want to hear the story, the longer version about how I sold my firm and what that looked like, then there's a secret podcast and they can comment or DM secret podcast. Yes.
We love the secret podcast, just the details of that. Okay, great. So click the link in the description here. You guys will be able to go check Britt over on Instagram, DM her the word smooth so you guys can grab that masterclass and make sure to get in her world, because obviously you guys can hear she's intelligent. She knows her shit, but she's also done some things that were difficult and maybe not the right way at first. And you have that stormy sailor experience that I
Yeah.
feel like people are really starving for right now.
Yes. Yes. We're very skilled sailors over here.
I think we have some people who are in the storm currently. At
Yes.
this very time.
And I would love to help you weather it. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure.